Hello everybody, how are my YouTube friends today? Today I'm going to do a medicinal herb video, and it's going to be just a little short one, but I wanted to talk to you about Usnia. And a lot of you may have this, especially in the eastern states or the southern states. I've seen this in Louisiana. It's not indigenous to my area, but as you know, because I live in the desert, but it's kind of, it looks like this. It just looks like a moss kind of stuff, and it reminds you of Spanish moss that hangs from the trees. And let me show you a picture of it. And I like to make a tincture of this Usnia, and I put it into a jar about a little over half full. And with the Usnia, because it's so mossy, not mossy, but you know, it's stringy and like that, it looks like Spanish moss, I fill it about 3/4 of the way full, and then I fill the rest of it with 80 proof vodka, and up to about 1/2 inch from the rim. And then I just let it sit for 6 weeks, and it makes a tincture that I can use as liquid medicine to put in my medicinal things. And let me tell you a little bit about it. It's also known as old man's beard. It grows in a similar fashion as Spanish moss, which I showed you. And once you get to know this, you won't mistake it for anything else. It's very distinct. It has a distinguishing characteristics, I can't talk, of a white rubber band-like core. So always look for this when you're looking for Usnia. And it is a sort of lichen, but it's Usnia. It's an indicator of a healthy ecosystem with clean air if you have this Usnia growing from your trees. It will not grow in heavily polluted areas and is now considered endangered in many areas. If I had to pick only one medicine to have available, this would be the one. All Usnia species are medicinal, so no matter what species you have of Usnia, it's all medicinal, so you can use it. It can be found hanging from the barks of trees like long strands of old man's beard. It can be distinguished from other lichens by its stretchy inner fibers and its exclusive white core. It's gray-green in color and can take many different forms, and it prefers to grow in areas with lots of rainfall. Hence, that's why there's none in the desert. Edible use. Usnia is considered edible when leached a few times, but it's not very palatable. It can cause stomach upset, and I wouldn't recommend eating it. It is, however, one of my favorites to go to medicinal plants. This is, if you have to have one around, this is the one. Medicinal use. It's a powerful antibiotic, antifungal, antimicrobial, and antiviral. I always carry Usnia and blue elderberry tinctures when I travel on airplanes and when I'm around other people who might be ill, as both of those components prevent and cure illness. You can put Usnia in a spray bottle for this use. If you spray Usnia tincture into the back of the throat, kind of like you would like Listerine or a mouth freshener, just open your mouth and spray it into the back of your throat. It prevents illnesses from taking hold. It's also a handy delivery mechanism to spray onto a wound or skin condition. So you can use little spray bottles, spray it onto a wound, or if you have a skin rash, that sort of thing. You can make it into oil, and it doubles as an extract tincture in alcohol and water, which is what I do. I Don't use water. I use alcohol because it does preserve it and it lasts a very long time. But if you don't want to use the alcohol, you can also fill it up with hot water and let it sit for a few days and just kind of steep in the water. And you can use it. It doesn't last, the tincture doesn't last nearly as long. You don't want to keep that for a real long time if it's in water. But that's why I use the alcohol tinctures, because they last indefinitely, so you can store them in a cool, dark place and they will last for a very long time. Antibiotic use. It's used for strep, staph, even tuberculosis. The outer portion of the Usnea lichen contains antibiotic compounds that rival penicillin. And this is the outer coating. I don't have the core in there, I just have the outer parts. For gram-positive bacteria like streptococcus, pneumococcus, and tuberculosis, it works extremely well, and you can use it topically as well internally. It doesn't seem to work as well for gram-negative bacteria like E. coli, so that you wouldn't want to use this one for the E. coli. It's a powerful antiviral. Usnea lichen is effective in treating viral infections such as herpes, Epstein-Barr virus, that is implicated in so many modern diseases. Your respiratory system, urinary tract, bladder, kidney infections. It helps to heal those. I can't even talk today, guys. It helps to heal those problems as well. And it's very effective in healing urinary tract, bladder, and kidney infections. Its antibiotic and antiviral properties help eliminate the infections, while the immune system helps the body heal. Skin problems, wounds, and infections. Usnea's antibiotic and healing properties work on wounds and skin infections, skin problems, when it's applied as a poultice, salve, or tincture directly on the affected skin. This lichen also has analgesic and anti-inflammatory properties that help relieve pain. So it covers a lot of area, this one does. It can be used to cool down in tea as an eye wash, along with other herbs like yarrow, chamomile, plantain for conjunctivitis. And it stops bleeding. When applied to wounds, this lichen quickly facilitates clotting and controls bleeding. Apply the lichen directly to the wound and bind in place with a gauze bandage for best results. You should harvest Usnea just after a storm has passed, because at this time the tree branches have broken, are lying on the ground, and it's easy to collect the Usnea because it's very handy at that point. Otherwise, you have to climb a tree and struggle to reach it. It grows slowly, so only collect from downed branches. Lichens are used as pollution indicators, so make sure you collect from an environmentally clean area. Pull on the lichen strands to find its white core. In this way, you'll have confirmation that you have the right lichen and good medicine. Use fresh or dry and store in a cool, dark place for future use. It's a highly concentrated medication and should not be taken continuously in large doses. Take as needed for specific problems. This is not a supplemental. You don't take this every day or as a supplement or just because. This is actually a medicine. No ill effects or abnormal liver enzyme readings have ever been detected from people using this, so that's a good important thing to know. You can make it into a tea. It's effective as a delivery method to access all the medicinally cured compounds of Usnia. I prefer to use the tincture. I'll take an eyedropper, take an eyedropper full, and put it into tea or coffee or another drink. You can even put it in your iced tea. And it's not real. It's not a real pleasant taste. That's why it's probably good to mix it with other things like tea and honey or coffee and milk or that kind of thing. I can tell you how to make the tincture if you would like to make a tincture of this. And it's really good for you to have in your medicine area. And if you can find this and you don't want a whole lot of herbs for a whole lot of different things, this is the one that I would recommend that you keep on hand. And I also wanted to talk to you about, I just ordered I like to keep a library of medical type books, first aid and that sort of thing. And I ran across this one. And some of you may have seen this because I did order it. It's been on Instagram, it's been on YouTube. And I ordered it just to see what it would be like. And it's called Survival MD. That's probably backwards in my camera. But it's Survival MD. And it's how to survive when there's no doctor. This book has a lot of things. It talks about your body and your circulatory system, your lungs, metabolic diseases, different things, hygiene supplies, buying medical kits and what you might need in them. And, it even covers on how to make a compost heap and self-diagnosis, taking a pulse. If you don't have any medical training whatsoever, this is a good basic because it tells you how to take someone's pulse, how to do rescue breathing, and, CPR, how to stop bleeding, how to clean an injury, how to suture the skin. It even covers fractures, like if you have a pelvic fracture, leg fracture, any kind of bone fracture, puncture wounds and infection. And there's even a section in here on, God forbid you ever had to deal with this, but amputation. And it talks about burns, what different degrees of burns and how to treat them, and non-traumatic illnesses and how to take care of those, and how to take care of ulcers, peritonitis or intestinal infections. It just covers a whole ton of stuff in this book. And I did read this book cover to cover. It's called The Survival MD. And it's really good for basic information. Now, it's not like a regular medical book. Everything is very simplified. But I think in a case of survival mode and things that you really need to do, I think this would be an excellent book to have around. So remember this one. It's called Survival MD. And this is what the book looks like. And I would recommend this book. It's, like I said, it's not super detailed, but it is very basic. And that's what most people would need in a survival situation. If you don't have a medical background, this gives you some very basic things to take care of wounds and burns and anything like that. Very basic stuff. If you just can't get to a doctor, I mean, you can't do surgeries and stuff, but it's really a good book to have around. So I highly recommend it. So that's all I have for today, guys. Thank you for listening. It's kind of quick, touching on the Usnia and on this medical book, but I really recommend the book and put it in your library. So that's all I have today. Thank you so much for listening and for tuning in. And I will be doing a medicinal I should wait till another day to do this. I just can't talk today. But another medicinal review of herbs or books anything having to do with medicine on Fridays. And so if you want to stay tuned for that, I'll be here on Fridays. On Tuesdays, I'm going to try to keep the schedule on Tuesdays to go over what I'm planting in my garden and what is succeeding and what isn't. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and God bless you all, and take care. Bye-bye.